Your theories are the worst kind of popular tripe, your methods are sloppy, and your conclusions are highly questionable.
Hello, everyone. I am going to go ahead and start up a little bit of Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup. This is Dr. Incompetent, the worst gamer, with the worst commentary on the internet, and I'm hoping that I can give you something so special you'll tell all your friends and family to avoid this channel like the plague. Alright, what we're going to do here is play Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup. If you've never played it before, it is a surprise dungeon crawl game. It's a roguelike, and it is one of the progenitors of the genre. As you can see here, it's got a copyright harkening back to 1997 until it was taken over by the Crawl dev team here. So it's something that is a great free game. Of course, please donate to the fine people that produce this game because they work really hard on it, and it's awesome. It's super deep, and there's actually patches and updates that happen frequently. But before I dive right into it, I do want to say I can offer you some really bad expertise in this game. I have actually cleared the game 3 times with 15 runes. Now, you might have no idea what the hell that means, and what I can say is it's difficult. It's one of my better gaming achievements. Now, my achievements pretty much aren't noteworthy, but I think that this is a game that provides a very significant challenge, and I can give you commentary. Now, I built my skill set up in this game through attrition, which is the way I get good at most games, which is just playing them again and again because I refuse to lose. I'm not saying I'm a good player. I'm saying I just won't quit, and that sometimes helps me eke out a victory. So I'm really, really good playing a fighter type class in this game. And when I say good, I mean I don't compare at all to the people who kick the crap out of this game. There's people who get like multiple 15 rune runs over consecutive playthroughs using just random character types. I could never aspire to that. I have to use something I'm comfortable with, but hopefully I can give you enough information about this game to make you want to play it too, because I think it's definitely something that's worth your time. So when you boot up this game, and all you have to do, and I'll put some links in the YouTube below this to where you download this, but you can just Google Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup, and right now the latest version is 0.24, and all you have to do is download it, and I always get the Windows installer with the console and tiles, and I always play on tiles. You can play online or offline. I'm choosing to play offline for the moment, and once you get to this screen, there's like an initial loading screen, and once it loads, you come to this, and you can enter your name. Now, I was using a character named Buns, but I think it's better to use a new name for this particular playthrough and see what shakes loose. So I'm going to go ahead and give us a good name befitting of my incompetence as a gamer. Alright. I'm going to call myself Buttered Cheeks. And you can take the name Buttered Cheeks and think whichever set of cheeks on the human body that you want. Alright, so what I always do is just go ahead and play Dungeon Crawl, this top one here. And this screen has evolved so much since my playing. And by the way, I haven't played in a bit, so there might be a bunch of updates to the game that I'm not aware of. New gods, new features that are just going to blow my mind. So I apologize for that. So I'll be learning some of this with you, as well as offering just things that I know from years of playing this game. But what they do nicely here is they kind of break things down for you, and they say, okay, if you're just starting out, when you're picking your species, stick to this list on the left. Do not select something over here on the right unless you are more masochistic than the average person and you want to die quickly. For example, the octopode is an awesome species. People can break the game if they get far enough with this, but it's hard to do that. Actually, exceptionally hard. For one reason, you're an octopus, which means that most of the equipment in the game you can't use. Now, you do get to wear a ring on each tentacle, which is amazing. The game normally caps you at 2 rings, but as an octopode, you get to wear 8, so that's sweet. That's really, really cool. However, most armor you just don't get to wear, so you're squishy as hell, and if you get hit a couple of times, you're dead. And this, my friends, is a traditional roguelike in the sense that it's permadeath. If you die, it's all over. Everything. Gone. No progress. You get nothing. It's procedurally generated each time, and there are some commonalities about the sequencing of when particular dungeon branches are available, but for the most part, this is a game that is just new each time. So that's why I keep coming back to it, because it's a different playthrough. No matter if you're the same race, the same job, the same god, things feel different based on a whole host of variables. But anyway, I have beaten the game as a Minotaur, a Hill Orc, a Gargoyle, and they used to have like a Mountain Dwarf class, which was broken, so they took it out, and a Deep Dwarf. In terms of 15 run victories, I've gotten 3 run victories with some other classes. 3 run is your basic. 3 runes is the minimum amount of runes that you can collect to attempt to get the Orb of Zot and escape the dungeon and win the game. I find that to be on the easier side at this point, but when you first start out in this game, it seems impossible. Just getting a rune when you first start out is a cause to shit your pants. So, what do I want to do? What kind of class do I want to play? Again, I like to be a sword and board fighter style in this game. So, with that in mind, I think I'm just going to go with a human. I've always wanted to try and get a 15 rune victory with a human, and never done it. Now, a human, okay, and actually I'm going to go back. And while you're in this character creation screen, you can use these things. You can use the mouse, which is, I think when I first started playing this, you couldn't do, but they also give the key commands. Most of the time, I just use the key commands. But one of the things that's sweet is you can just go ahead and get extra information about a species. And so if you push the % sign, for example, you can see like what each species has aptitude at. So here's all the skills listed, and then you see human here, and then 0 means it's just neutral. There's no bonus or minus to experience to raise these skills. Stealth, they get a bonus. Invocation, they get a bonus. Hit points is neutral. Magic points, neutral. They do get a nice bonus to experience and magic resistance. Then you look down here and you look at all the weapon skills, the armor skills, and humans you'll see are 0. They are average at everything. And so on the one hand, that's nice because, you know, they're masters of none, but skillful a little bit at everything. But on the other hand, it really sucks that you don't get, like, you know, a +2, for example, in some skill, because min-maxing can be your friend in this game. So the advantage of humans is that they have, quote, standard aptitude at pretty much everything, and they level up pretty reasonably, but they're actually the standard for experience per level. But the disadvantage is that they have nothing special. They're just totally generic. So anyway, nothing special, totally generic. That sounds damn familiar. That sounds like a day in my life. So I'm a human. I'm going to be a human. Now, when you want to select your background, it's kind of like your class. And you can get help in this game. So you can choose, like, push plus to choose a recommended background, something that they think your particular species would be good at, and that's generally regarded as an easier background to play as. You can do random if you're feeling nuts. You can just do random character and you get everything is randomized for you if you want. I am not going to be playing as a spellcaster because, like I said, I like to play as a warrior type. And I think I'll just start the game as Berserker. Now, as you can see, what they do is they gray out the classes that are not ideal for you, and they put in white the classes that will benefit you or be easier on you. Now, Berserker is one of my favorite classes to start the game as because they have this built-in ability to go nuts and go berserk, basically, using Trog, who's the, like, evil god of just fighting, killing, murdering, bloodbaths, all that kind of stuff. And that is like this ultimate oh shit button that you can press to take on stuff when you get into trouble that will get you out of jams early on. And let me say this, you're going to be in jams early on all the time. And so this really helps push you over the hump to at least let you get through the game a little bit more. So I'm going to do this because I'm really used to this. And to be honest, Trog actually scales pretty well. You'll find that all of the gods have some awesome abilities. Well, not all of them. Some of them are better than others. But they give you these powers. And some are passive, some are active. And some gods shine in the late game, some early on. But Trog is one of those things that it actually works out well for the most part for a whole run. Now, if you're going to go for a 15 rune run, you probably want to switch over to like the Shining One later, or a god to protect against mutation or something like that. But he's great. The other thing that's nice is you start out right away earning piety for the god. If you don't pick a background that starts worshiping a god, like the Abyssal Knight or the Chaos Knight, then you have to find a temple to basically become a follower of that god. And that can be done at the Ecumenical Temple, which used to be around level 6 of the dungeon, but I can't remember if they've made it deeper, and it's random. So you might not find a god until you get that deep in the dungeon, and if you're early on in the game, or like in terms of experience with this game, you might not even get there. So that's sad. So starting out with a god is great because you get the god's powers right away, and you get to collect piety right away. So let's do it. Now, then you get to kind of pick your starting weapon. And again, it's going to tell you, like, hey, here's the good stuff and here's the bad stuff based on all of your stats and aptitudes. Now, I'm a human, so it's all the same, but in general, the damage type of these heavier weapons is better than a short sword. Short sword's a little quicker, but I personally like to pick either an axe or a mace. I find those to be great for different reasons. The mace, the base reasons I love a mace is that you can get maces of protection. And so, like, you can get these maces that will give you a +5 to your armor class, depending on their level. And that's just tremendous. That really helps soak up damage and be tanky, which is what I like to do. Also, a mace is fantastic because if you're fighting an enemy like a Hydra, where it will regrow its heads and grow more of them, unless you have a flaming weapon or some other kind of special weapon that can, like, make it not regrow its head, like cauterize its heads, you can just lose the game to a Hydra because of that. They can get out of control. But a mace, you're smashing it, and so, you know, you don't chop it off. You just kind of beat it to a bloody pulp. And so it gives you a boost there. Also, I like to use a shield, and there's a one-handed mace. I think the best one, the last I knew of, was called an Evening Star in terms of its base damage. And so you can get this huge heavy hitter one-handed mace, which is a bit stronger than the heaviest one-handed axe, I think, which is a war axe, perhaps, or it used to be. Now, the axe, on the other hand, what's sweet about that is that it just hits every enemy in front of you. So it's like the tile directly in front of you based on the enemy that you're fighting, and then the adjacent tiles to the enemy that you're fighting. So you can kind of do these sweeping cleaves, and that is really, really nice. So it's personal preference. There's no wrong decision between those two. Spear is cool because it gives you reach, and so you can like hit an enemy from one tile away. And sword can be good. There's some better swords later on, triple blades and stuff like that, but I always just feel good with a mace. Now, when you choose this, you actually finally are ready to start playing the game. And here you are, and it says here in this little text box that you found a staircase leading out of the dungeon. One of the things I love about this game is that you can just go right back up out of the dungeon whenever you want, and the game's over. So if you feel like, you know what, this ain't my bag, I'm out, then that's what you do. Also, if you are badass enough to actually get the Orb of Zot, this is where you will escape from to win the game. All right, let me explain a little bit about what you see. Here is the main map in tiles mode. Here is the kind of generated, zoomed out view of the map to help you get around. Here are your abilities hotkeyed. So for example, like I said, I can berserk and get nuts. And when I mouse over it, down here at the bottom left, it gives you the description of what this does. And it tells you, if you're looking directly up and to the right, what your chance to fail using this ability is, and it's 0%. It's really easy to get nuts, especially if you're worshipping Trog like I am. And, oh, I forgot to rename, so I'm still Buns. That's fine. Buns is a great name. Buns the Cudgeler. Okay, and it says I'm a human of Trog, which means I'm already worshipping Trog. This indicator here shows what level of respect Trog has for me as a faithful servant of his. It's your piety level, and so like when you get this higher up, Trog loves you more and more, and you start getting access to better abilities. And Trog, when you get more piety, just starts giving you weapons that are randomly magical weapons, which is awesome. So anyway, here's my stats. I have 17 strength, 7 intelligence, 12 dexterity. I've got a 2 armor class. One of the shitty things about starting as Trog is that you're a barbarian and you start out with this terrible animal skin armor, like you're like Tarzan or something, just wandering in, and your mace, and that's it. One of the cool things about starting as a warrior is you start with heavier armor and you get a shield right away. And you might think, well, what's the big deal? Well, like I said, I love to use shields. I find them extremely helpful. And some games, you just can't find a shield forever. It's random. And you might never find a shield. You know, it might be, like, I've had games where I didn't find a shield until the Elven Halls. And even then, the elves use these crappy bucklers. And so it wasn't what I'm looking for. So you never know when you'll get a shield. And you'll never know when you get heavy armor. Some heavy armor is easier to find. Plate mail, which is the juice that I'm looking for, is harder to come by. But anyway, the trade-off is that you get to go to Berserk right away. And you get to use your evasion instead of just your raw armor class, which is pretty reasonable. It's a 12. SH is your shield. It's a 0. It's like your chance to block. And hey, I don't have a shield, so it's 0. XL is your experience level. I'm 1. I am 0% of the way to the next level. Where am I? Well, I'm on Dungeon 1, meaning I'm on the first floor of the main dungeon. This is like the noise that I'm generating walking around. This is very useful if you're a stealth type character and you need to backstab people. I am a crazy barbarian, so that's not my bag. Time is like the amount of turns that have passed in the game. Some really advanced players try to beat the game in as few turns as possible. I believe the score actually is modified based on how many turns. I'm incompetent. I'm a shitty player, and so what that means is I don't care at all about the amount of turns that I take. In fact, I take a lot of turns because I try to look for every square and scum the dungeon to kill as many enemies as I can to get experience and find loot. So think of me what you will, but that's a strategy that I use, so I don't care about turns. It tells you what my weapon is. I have this +0 mace equipped. Nothing quivered because I have no ranged items. Now, I want to show you some of the other stuff here in the commands section. At any time, you can just push the question mark to get this like awesome detailed explanation. Also, I think I'll link this in the YouTube and below. There's an incredibly good wiki for this game that just answers every question. There's great message boards for this. So there's a wealth of information within the game and on the web. But anyway, these are the things that you can do, okay? And so you can move around just by like clicking, like I want to go to this tile, and you can left click to move, or you can right click to describe, and it's like, asshole, it's the floor. Or asshole, it's a wall. Except the game is a little nicer about the wall. It gives me some nice feedback. It gives you there's a lot of like cool poetry quotes in this game. And so it gives you some fun context. Now I'm going to click to move. Normally I never use the mouse to move around, but I'm an experienced player and you can do whatever the hell you want. So you can click. And as you move around, your line of sight maps out what you can see. And so if that tile is something I can see and an enemy were there, I would be able to see them. Now, you can also use the arrow keys, like I'm doing now, to move around. Or you can use the letter keys to move around as well. You can use the numpad. There's all kinds of cool ways to input. Now, here is my recommendation for moving around in this game, and immediately this is probably a red flag to any advanced player, but I do something which is the first option here called auto explore the current level. All right, so if I click this, my guy will just start running around until he sees something that will trigger him to stop, and things that would make him stop would be like a monster or a trap or something that would cause you to want to reevaluate your situation and not keep exploring. Well, I've seen a monster, and what the game does when you auto explore is it stops as far away as possible the first instant that you see the monster, and it gives you control again, and it pauses your movement. And so it lets you make a decision, like, do I want to fight this dude? Well, as you can see, what is this guy? If I mouse over at him, it gives me description in the lower left text box where it says it's a hobgoblin wielding a +0 club. That's good information. It appears to be resting, and as you can see, he's got the ZZs. He's asleep. He is passed out, and I'm not making very much noise because I have no heavy armor. I don't even have shoes, so I'm like barefoot in animal skin. This dude can't hear me, so I can walk up to him. I'm not particularly stealthy, but I am a human, so I do get +1 aptitude. So he can't hear me. So I'm going to walk up again, and now he's heard me, and he shouts. And shouting is something that sucks because, as you can see, the noise meter has turned on. This asshole has made noise, and if there's any enemies in the immediate vicinity that can hear his shout, they're like, oh, I woke up from my nap and I'm rushing in to fight. Now, all I have time for in this video is to show you how to fight one enemy. And I'm going to show you what I would do if I were fighting this enemy. I have found in my many, many deaths in this game, and they are legion, like your victory rate in this game is something like less than 1/100th of 1%. And that's pretty reasonable. I mean, it's like 99.9% of the time, probably, you fail at this game. You do not win. It's very hard, but it's still fun. It brings you back. And so what you learn is to fear and respect this game, and in a way that you wouldn't believe. Now, I don't really respect this guy too much because he's a hobgoblin, but he can still kick my ass at this point in the game. So it gets even worse if more enemies pile on, and he shouted so enemies could come in. So what you want to do is be as cowardly as you can and protect yourself as much as humanly possible. So I'm going to back into this corridor here so that I can't get mobbed and flanked by other enemies. You see, some, Dick Knocker could come through this door and just be here, and I would be getting pulverized. Or somebody could be like, hey, and come in here while I'm fighting. And so what I'm going to do is take a step back. Now, he's going to follow me, but he's pretty slow. Some quicker enemies might get a hit on you if you're slow and you try to do this kind of movement. But even so, it's still worth it. Positioning is your number one thing. That's actually going to be the title of this video, is in terms of like the tutorial. It's about building your character and starting out and just getting used to what the hell you see on the screen. But really, it's also too about your main objective in any combat. And the first thing you want to do is make sure that your health is good. Here's my health bar, the green bar. Here's my magic, my huge pool of magic. And by the way, just as a side note, Trog hates it if you use magic. It actively angers him, so don't use magic if you're into Trog. And my hit points are good, and so that immediately tells you, do I want to run away? Then you want to look at the enemy type. Can I take this dude? If you can't, run the hell away. Find a staircase. Get the hell out of there. This guy I can take, but even still, I'm going to back into a hallway, and this is good enough. I could still get somebody to come up from the back, but I was just there recently and there was nobody there, so the chances are pretty slim that somebody's going to come there, and even if they do, it's only one other enemy that I'm fighting and not, 9. So here we go. Now you can press S or press space to just kind of wait and let them come to you, and that's what I did. Now, what you can do is you can mouse over and you can just like click on this guy to swing if you want, and that's fine. I tried to swing, and it says in gray that I hit the guy, but I did no damage. And then he gets 2 hits, apparently, for every one of my hits. So he hit me. He did 2 damage, as indicated up here, and then he missed me. Now, what I like to do to fight is just use the arrow keys to move into the enemy, so I'm going to just push up and swing. I missed, he missed. And I bopped him, and he's dead. And now I'm going to move over his corpse and see what's available for me. There is a +0 club. That is, I'll right-click on it, and I'll show you all the sweet information that this game gives you. This game is so badass, and there's so much wealth of information. And they keep adding to it to make the tooltips more powerful, but this club has a base accuracy of +3, which is good. +3 to hit. Base damage is 5, that sucks. And base attack delay, which is like affects your speed, how many attacks you get per round, is 1.3. Then it starts to give you more information based on who you are. So if I were at skill level 14 of clubs, or maces or whatever, I could get this down to 0.6. My skill is 3. At 100% training, it's going to take me 9.1 experience levels to max out. At my current training level, which is 38%, I'll reach this in 14 levels. And this is in the maces and flails category, so if I want to get good with this, I would train maces and flails. It's a one-handed weapon, and it could get up to +9 with enchantment. And it's even just like got all this sweet information, like telling you a story, like you found this on level 1 from some crappy hobgoblin. And then it has a cool poem to give you some fun information with it. Now, I'm going to compare that to my mace. My mace is also +3 accuracy, but its base damage is 8. Base damage is almost everything in this because armor directly mitigates damage, and so you want to get through people's armor, so you want higher base damage. However, that usually comes with more of an attack delay, but at this point, it's super minimal. It's 1.3 to 1.4, so why not go with the mace? It's strictly better at this point for me. Now, one thing I want to do is say, it's telling me about my skills, and I think it's worth bringing up my skills here. I'm pushing the M key to bring up the skills window, but you can do that in the commands hotbar over here instead. Anyway, this shows you what skills you are actively training. So it's like as you accumulate experience in the game, it gives it and distributes it to the skills that you're training based on the intensity with which you're training them. What does that mean? Okay, so right now I'm training fighting, which just gives you hit points, and so it's awesome. I'm also training maces and flails, which affects your ability to hit, the damage you do, and the attack speed with maces and flails. I'm training armor, and I'm training dodging, and everything else is gray because I'm not training it. Now, the game automatically will train stuff for you based on what you have equipped if you are on auto train mode. And I recommend, like, the first few times you play through this, just stick to auto. Why the hell not? You're going to be dying so fast that it probably won't matter, but I've played this game a lot, and if you feel comfortable, just go ahead and click on manual mode. And so then what this does is it allows you to pick which skills you train, and it doesn't matter what you have equipped or don't have equipped. Now, I'm going to go into what I like to train early on in the game. I don't like to train dodging, even though it's actually kind of helpful, but I'm just planning on getting armor, and so I'm going to be training fighting, maces and flails. Unarmed combat is pretty good too. It can help you get an extra attack, but for right now, the most important thing for me is maces and flails. I just want to have a humongous ability to hit. And let me go back to the skills, and if you want help with what the hell this skill does, you can just push the question, and then now when you click on the skill, it tells you what it does. And so being skilled with flails allows you to attack more quickly, as well as increasing your accuracy and damage with them. So it's just tremendously important. Now, if you choose, you can actually click on the plus, and you'll see that it changes from a plus symbol into an asterisk, and what that means is that you're training maces and flails more intensively. More of your experience is going there than it is to fighting and armor. And I'm all about that. I'm fine with this ratio right now. Also, you'll see that axes and staves are green. The reason that they're green is because they get a little bit of runoff experience from maces and flails. There's some synergy there, and so that's just useful. If you find a great axe or a great staff, then your skill at no cost is going up because you're raising your maces and flails. At some point, I'll turn off fighting, but I do want some hit points for now and just do my armor and my maces and flails and shields if I get it. But now I feel good, I'm training the right stuff. Now, what do you need to know after you've completed your first fight and you've tried to loot the guy? And you'll see here that on the ground, it just shows the tile of what is here. And you might think, well, why are there all these squares? Well, you can create massive kill piles in this game, and there could be loot that goes all the way on this and beyond. So anyway, What I always do, because I'm a coward and I found that the coward's way it helps you in this game, unless you're just trying to go for speed, which I am not. After I complete a battle, I pushed the 5 button, or the number 5 on the keypad, which allows you to rest. And you can see that that's the second option here on the commands hotbar. And so it does rest and heal. Okay, so what rest and heal does is if you push 5, your person will just kind of rest and chill out until their hit points are maxed out. And the reason you do that is, if it's not obvious, is that you don't want to be doing anything in this game without hit points. Or otherwise you will die, and you will die fast. So I like to rest all the time. The only downside is that it passes time, and over time you get hungry, and you can die of starvation, which you don't want to happen. However, you nicely start with this cool pear, and you can eat the flesh of your enemies, providing you're not following a good god later. But anyway, Trog don't mind if I eat. But if you want to know what your god minds, you can left click to get your information, and you can go over to, I'm sorry, you can go to your god screen. Where's the religion screen? Well, anyway, I can't remember what the hotkey is on this bar to do it, but it's the caret key. So if you push Shift and 6, you get to your God screen, and it tells you like all the things that your God is about. And this is the screen that tells you like what it is that you can do that pisses your god off. And if you piss your god off enough, they'll just start actively trying to kill you, sending people at you, doing damage to you. It sucks. You don't want this to happen. So don't do things that your god doesn't like. If you feel like you don't want your god anymore, you can renounce your religion, but be careful. The gods can get angry if you do that. They're spiteful. Anyway, I said I was going to just fight, and I got into even more. This game has so much information, but I'll cover it more smoothly. I'll go over it slower. I'll stop the episode here and kill some more stuff later. Hopefully this has been enough to confuse you, anger you, and just maybe even drain your intelligence a little bit. Anyway, thank you so much for taking time to watch this video. I'm going to put it on YouTube. Check me out on Twitch. And if you like this, click like, click subscribe, and have a great day. Dr. Incompetent out. Vayakon Namaste, everybody.